The magic of Christmas morning is something we all cherish, gathering around the tree, unwrapping presents, and feeling the warmth of the holiday spirit. But for some, this cherished time has turned into a waking nightmare. These true horror stories are not for the faint of heart, as they delve into the chilling moments when families experienced terrifying break-ins during what should have been the happiest morning of the year. Get ready to uncover tales that mix urban legends with eerie encounters that will make you think twice about leaving your doors unlocked this Christmas. And before we dive in, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more true scary horror stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Let's begin. This story is about a silent night gone wrong. Jenna lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood known for its holiday cheer. Every year, the streets were lined with glowing lights, and families competed for the best decorations. This year was no different. On Christmas Eve, Jenna tucked her kids into bed after a night of hot cocoa and carols. Little did she know, this Christmas would be marked by something far more sinister than forgotten gifts. As the family slept, a man crept through the backyard, using the cover of snow to muffle his footsteps. Jenna was jolted awake by what she thought was a faint jingling sound, like bells. She brushed it off, thinking it was part of a dream, but her dog's low growl told a different story. She tiptoed downstairs, her heart racing. Peeking into the living room, she froze. There, amidst the Christmas lights and ornaments, was a shadowy figure rummaging through the gifts under the tree. Jenna quickly ducked behind the kitchen counter, trying to figure out what to do. Her phone was upstairs, and she didn't want to alert the intruder by running back. Gathering her courage, she grabbed the first thing she could, a heavy ceramic mug, and hurled it toward the living room. The sound startled the intruder, who bolted out the back door, leaving behind a chilling reminder of his presence, a muddy boot print on the white carpet. The family called the police, who informed them that several homes in the area had been targeted. To this day, Jenna can't hear jingle bells without feeling a shiver down her spine. But the nightmare wasn't over. A week later, as Jenna was cleaning up the remnants of their Christmas celebration, she noticed something eerie. Her favorite ornament, a delicate glass angel, was missing from the tree. At first, she chalked it up to the chaos of the break-in, but the discovery felt like a bad omen. The next night, while trying to fall asleep, she was plagued by a vivid bout of sleep paralysis. In her motionless state, she thought she saw the faint outline of a figure standing at the foot of her bed. Its presence felt suffocating, filling the room with an unnatural chill. Jenna began to question if what she had experienced was more than just a robbery. The strange events spiraled when her youngest child started waking up at night, screaming about a man in the corner. The family dismissed it as nightmares, but Jenna couldn't shake the sense that their home carried the weight of dark secrets. Her dog, who had growled the night of the break-in, now refused to enter the living room, his fur bristling whenever Jenna coaxed him toward the tree. Finally, while watching late-night TV in an attempt to distract herself, Jenna saw a shadow move across the hallway. Certain she was alone, she froze, staring at the darkened corridor. The moment was fleeting, but it left her shaken. She began researching similar true horror stories online, discovering accounts of eerie encounters with intruders that later spiraled into tales of urban fright and haunted stories. Jenna wondered if her experience had crossed from reality into something more paranormal, a blend of terrifying tales and nightmare tales that blurred the line between truth and urban legends. Despite the unsettling events, Jenna tried to regain normalcy. However, the creepy stories and haunted tales of that Christmas Eve lingered, a chilling reminder of how quickly the comfort of the holidays can turn into the stuff of horror stories for sleep. This story is about the locked chimney. For Daniel, Christmas morning had always been sacred. This year, he planned to spend it alone in his childhood home after his parents passed away. The house had been his sanctuary, until that morning. Around 3 a.m., Daniel was awakened by a loud thud coming from the chimney. His first thought was that a raccoon had gotten stuck, but as the noises continued, it became clear this wasn't a small animal. It sounded like heavy boots scraping against brick. Armed with a flashlight, Daniel cautiously approached the fireplace. As he got closer, the noises stopped, and an eerie silence filled the room. He felt a chill run down his spine as he shined his flashlight into the chimney and saw nothing but soot. Relieved, he turned away, only to hear a low whisper coming from behind him, "Merry Christmas." Daniel spun around, but the room was empty. The whisper had come from the direction of the chimney. He locked every door and window in the house and stayed awake until sunrise. When the police arrived, they discovered the lock on the back door had been tampered with, and footprints led away from the house toward the woods. Daniel moved out a month later, unable to shake the feeling that someone, or something, was still watching him. Even after moving, Daniel's nightmares didn't cease. He often woke up in the dead of night experiencing what he thought was sleep paralysis, unable to move as shadowy figures loomed in the corners of his room. One particularly terrifying night, he swore he heard faint footsteps circling his bed. The sensation of being watched wasn't just in his mind, it was palpable. These events weren't simply eerie encounters but a string of chilling scares that kept him on edge. A few months later, Daniel visited the local library to distract himself, but what he found only deepened his fears. Buried in the dusty archives was an article detailing the dark folklore of his neighborhood. Decades earlier, the woods behind his childhood home were rumored to be the hiding place for a fugitive who would sneak into homes during Christmas to steal supplies. The townspeople claimed his malevolent spirit still haunted the area, targeting those who spent Christmas home alone. The connection to Daniel's experiences sent shivers down his spine, turning his story into one of the most terrifying tales he had ever heard. One final event solidified Daniel's decision to leave the state entirely. While unpacking in his new apartment, he found a small, soot-stained note tucked into one of his moving boxes. It read, "See you next Christmas," written in a shaky hand. The discovery sent Daniel into a panic, as he realized that no matter how far he went, the urban fright of that Christmas morning had followed him. Whether it was a cruel prank, a stalker, or something paranormal, Daniel vowed never to spend Christmas alone again, forever haunted by this chapter of his true horror stories. These true scary horror stories remind us that even in the most cherished moments, there can be haunted tales lurking just beyond the light of the Christmas tree. For Daniel, the season of joy became a season of fear, cementing his story as one of the scariest and most unforgettable among ghost stories and nightmare tales. This story is about the Midnight Caroler. In a small New England town, Carol and her family were enjoying a snowy Christmas Eve. The fireplace crackled, and carolers had just finished singing on their doorstep. By midnight, the kids were fast asleep, and the house was silent. Carol awoke to the sound of faint singing coming from outside. Thinking it was the carolers returning, she peeked out the window, but no one was there. The singing continued, though it seemed to be coming closer. She nudged her husband awake, and the two of them ventured downstairs. As they reached the living room, the singing abruptly stopped. They stood frozen in place, the only sound now the ticking of the clock. Suddenly, they heard a loud crash from the kitchen. Rushing in, they found the back door wide open and snow tracked across the floor. A police investigation revealed that multiple break-ins had occurred in the neighborhood that night. The suspect? A man dressed as a caroler, who had been using the festive disguise to gain access to homes. But the eerie encounters didn't end there. Over the next few nights, Carol's children began complaining of hearing the same faint singing while they were trying to sleep. Carol initially dismissed it as leftover anxiety from the break-in, but when she experienced it herself during the dead of night, she knew something was wrong. The singing came with a chilling resonance, as if echoing from within the walls. It wasn't long before the family began to suspect that their intruder had left more behind than just footprints. It was as if their home was steeped in dark folklore, carrying an inexplicable presence. One night, Carol experienced an episode of sleep paralysis for the first time in her life. Frozen in bed, unable to move, she saw a shadowy figure standing in the corner of her room. The figure seemed to hum the same unsettling tune. When she finally broke free from the paralysis, she screamed, waking her husband. But the figure was gone. Carol later learned that her neighbors had also experienced chilling scares and strange paranormal phenomena after the caroler break-ins. What began as a true scary horror story turned into something much darker, a tale of haunted tales and creepy stories that would leave the entire neighborhood on edge. As the weeks passed, Carol decided to investigate the dark secrets of their home. After consulting local archives, she discovered that years ago, a man had roamed the streets pretending to be a caroler, luring people into a false sense of security before breaking into their homes. Legend had it that his spirit wandered the town every Christmas, reenacting his crimes as part of a macabre ritual. Whether it was urban fright or true stories, Carol didn't care to find out. Her family moved away the following year, leaving behind what they would forever call their nightmare tales. If you're enjoying these haunted tales and eerie experiences, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own terrifying tales in the comments below. Remember, the best way to avoid your own Christmas nightmare is to stay safe, lock your doors, and keep your secrets, and your spare keys, hidden. Stay tuned for more true scary horror stories that will make you question what really happens in the dark corners of the holidays.